I saw a post by Maria Shriver on Twitter, and she was writing about a mass shooting in Georgia that just took place. As far as I can tell, 4 people have died. She goes on to list a whole bunch of things that Georgia state law does not have that she thinks would have prevented this from happening. I just want to point out that she takes aim at constitutional carry in a number of places here. But is constitutional carry to blame for increases in homicide rate? Or does it make for safer communities? Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With cold, blunt analysis cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's time for the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
To do this analysis, I wanted to choose a state that has had permitless carry for quite some time, so that the post-passage trend could be analyzed. Shriver was picking on Georgia, but Georgia only passed permitless carry last year. I picked Arizona because former U.S. Representative Gabby Giffords of Giffords, probably the most prolific voice against constitutional carry, is from Arizona. Arizona also passed constitutional carry quite a few years ago, when such a law was somewhat of a novelty. Now, over half of all U.S. states have constitutional carry, or some variation of it. So let's take a look at the data. Here's the homicide rate of Arizona since 2000. I will provide links to the data in the description below. You might ask, well, Johnny, I can't determine the impact of permitless carry if you don't mark the year in which it was passed. Well, one way to remove the bias in analyzing trends is to show the graph and ask all parties to guess the year in which an influencing factor, in this case, the passage of the permitless carry bill, occurred. So, can you guess the year in which Arizona passed constitutional carry by looking at the graph? Some of you that rail against permitless carry probably picked 2015 or perhaps 2018. After all, the years after those years, crime skyrocketed, and we all know that permitless carry leads to shootouts like the OK Corral, which occurred in Arizona. So we heard plenty of those arguments when the bill was up for vote. Those of you gun rights advocates probably picked 2007. You'd be wrong. Or perhaps 2010. You'd be right. Constitutional carry was passed in April 2010 and went into effect in June 2010. Naturally, this doesn't prove that constitutional carry makes states safer. If we examined another state's homicide rate by year, it might show the polar opposite. That is, it might imply that constitutional carry somehow increases the murder rate. However, the fact that Arizona's murder rate actually dropped for the next 5 years after the passage of permitless carry does kind of destroy the argument that permitless carry leads to carnage. After all, if there was such a strong connection between permitless carry and uninhibited shootings, carnage in the streets, wild, wild west, and so on, why didn't such carnage appear in Arizona after 2010? By the way, if you follow the trend lines for homicide at the national level, you will see that Arizona's murder rate pretty much followed the national murder rate before and after 2010. It appears to me that constitutional carry really didn't have much effect on murder rate. In conclusion, while I don't see a lot of evidence that constitutional carry makes states safer, I certainly don't see any evidence that it makes them more dangerous. Perhaps I'm right. Constitutional carry really doesn't impact crime one way or the other. So why have it? For one, it's freedom. Not just any kind of freedom. It's the freedom to take control over your own protection, over your own lives, to adequately defend yourself and not have to rely on the government to protect you. If constitutional carry really doesn't have any substantial increase in crime, why not have it? Like my video and subscribe to my channel.